How would you feel if you'd spent over £120,000 building your dream off-grid, off-road capable and unique camper van, and then every van owner's worst nightmare happened?
To come back and find your van broken into was just devastating.
Well, that's exactly what happened to Mark, and in this video we meet up with him to talk about his incredible custom long wheelbase MAN 4x4, to tour his van, talk about his setup, and of course talk about what happened earlier this year when his van was broken into, leaving him and his family exposed in a foreign country.
Hi, I'm Mark and this is my MAN TGE. It's a 4-wheel drive off-road camper. Start down at the wheels first. We're running a set of Evo Course 17-inch BFG Goodrich 265/65 profiles on them, so they're quite big. To allow us to have that bigger profile, we do have a Cactus Van 100mm lift kit, which up until now there's only 2 in the country that are running this. I've done about 7,000 miles now on this, possibly more, and as a prototype I've not had any problems at all, no niggles, no noises. It's worked perfect. So we've got the Bravo snorkel, supplied from Matt at T5 Upgrade. So these are custom made. One of my friends from the car scene, he lives in Glasgow and he's got his own CNC business that he's just started this year, so he custom built me these.
And we'll talk a little bit more about these later, but for now we'll give them a miss. What else? So these are new as well, aren't they?
Yeah, so we upgraded headlights and the side lights. We've upgraded there from HQ, Transporter HQ. Halogen lights as standard, but they're like candles, you just can't see anything. So we use the van all the time, all through the winter, so these were a big must. Laser lamp utility lights, ditch lights, so we use them in the winter for seeing side of the roads and try to find our camp spots.
And you've got plenty more at the top of there. There's strand lights.
Strand lighting on the top we've went for, so we have an amber sort of running light. We do have a switch that we can alternate it to white as well. So that's the Almond 4-wheel drive sump guard, which goes right under, protects the whole under tray.
Have you needed that?
We have needed it. We've had a few times we've hit it on sort of ditches and stuff. I actually just changed the number plate for coming out this week because I'd smashed the last one. Obviously the number plate's relocated to allow me to have my winch. Not needed yet, and I hope I get to use it. Aye, so if anybody wants to get stuck and let me pull them out, because I'm not going to get stuck. I tried and I'm not getting stuck yet, so please challenge me if we can go and get stuck somewhere.
Them are obviously not standard. First off, they're all sitting on, is that a custom roof rack or is that a...
Custom roof rack, yeah, so that was built, we've got a pop top on the top, so the roof rack's built round the pop top, which then allows me to have my lights, my FIAM awning and my marine speakers, which are a must.
And for anyone who's been to any shows when Mark's actually there as well, the best time to find his van is normally when it starts to get dark, because once all of this lights up, Mark does a lot of lighting. That's what your business is in?
So I'm an electrician to trade, but
so
do a lot of LEDs.
He loves these lights. Like, yeah. He's got the most unnecessary modification or accessory with LEDs I've ever seen in the van, which I'll show you when we get inside the van. But for now, we'll move around to the back because we've got a different bike rack to what I think I've seen with most.
Well, as far as I've not seen another one in the UK yet. So this is an Arance from Spain. So normally it'll take up to 4 bikes. Normally it's just I have a Super 73 electric bike that I would put on, and we actually use it for when it's down. There's enough room we can have the paddle boards, electric skateboard, things like that, all the toys on it as well. So the ladder and the second bar, we can put the paddle boards between them, so we keep the paddle board inflated and we'll just have it strapped, and that allows us just to different spots. We'll keep it up, we can get out in 1 minute and then nip up if the weather's bad. Or
and you've also got Max Tracks, are there?
Just a cheaper copy, but same style. So Max Tracks brackets for mounting it to. Again, they're just for show. I've not needed to use them yet. I did get asked, somebody asked me, got stuck in the mud and asked if I could borrow it, and I said no, they're just for show. So I'm nice. The boy in the tractor come and told him it, so.
If you're planning a road trip to Scotland and you want to make sure you don't miss any of the must-sees along the way, then why not pick up one of our paperback travel guides. Our guides cover the ultimate Scottish road trip, which will guide you through Scotland at its very best in one incredible road trip route.
Scotland's most iconic road trip reimagined with the North Coast 500 improved travel guide, Scotland's most exotic white sand beaches covered in our Outer Hebrides guide, as well as Scotland's hidden gem, which is the Isle of Arran travel guide. All of the guides are hand wrapped and come with our route plan and bookmark, a sticker pack, a digital map counterpart, and as well as that, the Isle of Arran guide also comes with a hand folded A3 physical map. To get your hands on any of these guides, click the link in the description. So we're inside the cockpit area of the van, and these seats are definitely not standard.
No, so when I bought this it came with 2 single captain chairs. We changed it out for the double, which we have. It just means we can have the dog on beside us and you can get a bit more comfortable. So the front we do run all our electrical gear. So under the driver's seat we have a Roamer 230 lithium battery.
Then what is that wired all the way at the back where
No, as with this layout we've tried to keep as much sort of storage and space as possible. So we've lost a sort of 100mm on our bathroom side, but then it allows us to have all our electrical gear.
And this is basically everything other than the battery, which is what underneath where you're sitting?
Battery's under here, everything else is here.
Right.
And then we have a wee cupboard which is our switching panel for our heater and water, gas. But all the main components are here.
Yeah. So what is it, can you talk us through the spec of the electrical system that you're running on this then?
As I say, it's a 230 amp lithium battery, and we run it from a 300 watt solar on the roof, which is controlled from the Victron control. What I like about the Victron, obviously there's a few on the market, but the Victron for me gives you the Bluetooth capability. I can go on my phone. I had a few problems first when we first set it up. I was able to go into the app and then diagnose what was going on and rectify it and make wee tweaks that I could get it working right.
And so, this is the full housing. How accessible is that though? Because that is behind the driver's seat.
The seat comes forward. It has got a swivel as well. It gives you a wee bit more access. But there's enough room. I've got another door below the seat which opens up. So obviously it's a tambour door on the top, but then the front one just opens up and then we can get in.
It's an unusual setup. I don't think I've ever seen one really behind the seat like this before, to be honest. But it's a nice tidy like vertical system as well. A lot of the time it takes up a lot of space. Other than that, where that's
more. A lot
more.
of folk will have them in their fixed bed in their garages and they'll have the big units at the side. But if it's set up, once it's set up and it's in there, you shouldn't really need to touch it.
Yeah.
I've got a couple of switches I need to get access to, but they're nice and easy that I can get to.
Yeah.
The fuses, which is what you would maybe have to get to more, they're obviously at a good height that we can get access into them. These are just a wireless two-way switch, so I've got a switch on the back and a switch here. So this allows me to have the side on for parking in the winter in the woods. And then this one I've got 2 lights on the back, which obviously I can use for reversing, parking up and...
Speaking of reversing, that's not standard.
No, so
Tell us more about this. What is this?
So we have the camera system on it, this is a custom screen from Cactus Vans. I was obviously had a bit of problems in the summer when I was away, and Cactus reached out and were good enough to help and build this new screen for me. It gives you your 4 pictures when you're driving. It's constantly monitoring and recording, but also allows you to indicate and bring up what side you're going, so that any blind spot, if anybody's coming up the side of you, you can see them. We've upgraded door speakers and the tweeters on the side. Now these are the Alpine kit from Transporter HQ. Compared to the original ones is night and day. The sound quality is just phenomenal. We have got a stop on it halfway, so it'll stop there. That was all thanks to, that's a 3D printed stop that's on it from Adam at Camper Le Firth. It just allows you to have the door only part of the way open, and then you can keep your sort of cooking area a wee bit sheltered from the wind.
Yeah. Lovely colour. It's not a safe choice, this though.
No, on paper a lot of folks said it wouldn't work.
I would have thought
British racing green with the tan leather. This was my second choice because the first choice I had picked an aluminium white, which we were trying to go sort of brighter with this van and more modern, but then it was discontinued and I'd kind of looked through all the swatches and seen this, and it just jumped out at me. So
it is a nice colour. Just noticed this as well as this for the awning.
So that's your electric for your awning.
And this is
and a wee coat hook.
Coat hook. It's the neatest coat hook I've seen.
And we've just got our junk in there.
Ah, right. Again, it's such a tidy edging and everything. It's very neat.
Yeah. Obviously, a lot of folk will go sort of banded or something. I use the van and I wanted a kind of, I suppose, off-road kind of feel, so I went with the aluminium edging.
Yeah.
And the thick rubber, but that was my choice and that's what I wanted the look to be.
Yeah. What was the decision behind the rounded door?
I just don't like square edges. I just thought the rounded edges look a lot better. Rounded edges on the end, I wanted to kind of tie it all together.
I see the little door down there. Is there anything in that hatch or?
This is my chemical toilet waste.
Right. So you just bring it through.
So we bring it inside the van.
Yeah.
But obviously, because it comes in the van, some vans will have a smell. We've got a salt kit on ours, so it's actually vented through the floor through a charcoal filter.
Right.
And it's got a 12-volt pump that'll just keeps the air circulating and lets things break up a lot better.
How much do you like gin to need its own gin
I've not
cupboard?
even opened it yet.
I mean, already.
So when I first built the van, because I built the van when I was going to Ibiza for my birthday, for my 40th. My spec when I built it was obviously lights, speakers, coffee machine, gin bar.
It is very much a party bus, this thing. So you've got little custom cutouts for it as well.
Yeah, just to stop any rattles, and we've got some, obviously, the glasses in at the back. When you're building a van, you want it to be a little bit different. So if I go to sell the van, it's a 5-seater coffee machine gin bar.
Yeah.
There's not another one on the market that's going to have those specs on it.
So speaking of coffee machine, I think this will be a split decision, this one, whether that is a waste of space or not.
What else would you use it for though?
What would you, do you need to have this there as well, or could you not have this and have a deeper bench? Or?
Yeah, you don't need this.
I suppose the difference with this one is you can afford to take up a bit of space, because unlike a lot of vans, he's actually got worktop on this side, and this one's also very deep as well. So I think a lot of vans probably would maybe not have something like that, but then they wouldn't also have so much worktop space that you've got.
But with my layout, I get away with it because I've not got a fixed bed. I can get away with having this sort of 2 bigger kitchen areas.
Yeah, which works. You have got a lot of space. There is this here, which is for the Isle of Arran travel guide, which is available now. The link for that is in the description. Coffee machine with your capsules. I've noticed you got like a little capsule thing there. Candle
holder, just.
And there's this, the other monitor to fit the CCTV.
So the same for the front. I can have. It just means if we're parked up and we hear a noise outside, we can have this on just to see if there's anybody kicking about or lurking.
2 gas hobs.
Yep, 2 gas hob.
Would you change that if you rebuilt it, or
next van I wouldn't go gas, I would go all electric.
Yeah, is that just an electric like oven? Gas oven as well.
Gas oven as well, which we use. We use the van all winter, so for us, internal cooking in the snow and things like that, you can't cook outside every night, so it is a must. Storage cupboards, cut there with our. And then it's all rubber lined to stop any rattles.
Yeah, and then I've noticed as well these wireless chargers built into the worktop.
Chargers.
There's one on this side and on that side of the van, and the unnecessary tap.
Everything's necessary. So we've got hot and cold water, but we also have some lights.
Completely unnecessary to have LED taps.
Not necessary.
Is that for like washing up liquid or something?
Washing up liquid, yep. I like everyone to have a home and.
Yeah, well it definitely does in this van. There's nothing really lying around.
Small bit of the cupboard that you wouldn't use for anything else.
Yeah. TV, just a normal telly there.
24-inch telly.
And that's on like a swivel or something.
It's just on a swivel. It's got a locking mechanism so it keeps it safe in, and it just.
It comes out miles actually.
Yeah, full flexibility.
It's big that. You've got a telly there, that's great and all the rest of it, but look at the windows. So this is, I would say, pretty unique. There's not really any of the vans I've been with this amount of glass.
No.
There's a hell of a lot of windows here. I mean, but when we filmed the B-roll earlier on for like all the bits you'll have been seeing up to now, we filmed it somewhere else, and I sat down and out the window saw the mountains. So I mean that is a big old window. And
just now, if you look at the views,
now you just sit there in this like that. You can just look out of that window, or that window, or that window, or that window, or the back windows. There's a lot of windows in this van. You get a lot of nice views. The beer fridge. Show us the beer fridge. We've missed the beer fridge. Mark has. You have had bother with this though, haven't you?
We have.
So he's got like a hidden beer fridge in the bottom.
Tin fridge, juice fridge.
which has all of his cans that he likes to pretend he doesn't like a drink when he definitely does. But that's not the only fridge. You've also got quite a big unit here as well,
80 litre main fridge,
which is a decent size. I like your little crap catchers.
Yeah, so they were all imported when I first built the van. Chris at Bespoke Solar had got me these.
Just having them at home for
We've got
stuff.
one there, we've got one at the back as well that just keeps all my tie downs for the awning and things like that, and then obviously the one here which started off for my keys but ended up with a candle.
You got a table here and then a hole there, but where is the leg?
The leg is just under your leg,
Ah,
so it's just mounted on the bottom of the
so there's the leg, so that bolts into there and the top sits on top of it from there.
I think what I like about this one is there's no holes in the floor for this one.
Yeah.
It's just a twist in and it locks in.
Right.
So I don't have a lot like the Fiam and things like that. You've got to drill a hole and mount it
in the
in.
van, yeah.
We'll try to keep away from that.
All of these curtains just pull across like,
Just
are
the
they all
Van X curtains on
Yeah.
the rails.
blackout curtains as well?
Blackout curtains are a wee bit thermal, but
Yeah. No, they,
it is something we're thinking about changing. And
what else?
looking
What
at
would you
options.
change that to?
I have been looking at the sort of leather roll up which are more insulated.
Yeah.
It's just getting the time to go and get it templated and
Yeah.
getting them.
Some of you might have noticed as I'm doing this video, this in the roof. Now I can confirm, as much as it's ridiculous and over the top, it's always like this. Not in this design, I must say. This is the first time I've seen this sort of diagonal stripe, but this isn't a pattern in the roof. This is what he's brushed into it specifically before he come away,
Yeah,
which is a bit ridiculous, to be honest. I like all of these. Are these all touch?
all touch, just
Oh, I like that.
flexibility and lighting.
That, to be honest, that makes a difference, because sometimes you don't want all the lights on.
No.
And I've never necessarily considered having individual lights like that, especially when it's just a touch.
It's not to everybody's taste, because some people just like one switch to switch on, but for us, having that flexibility of lights, I've got lights everywhere, but it's just creates different scenes and it creates different styles.
I agree, it's nice because you can have maybe a couple on over this side and have a bit darker where you are chilling.
Yeah.
It does
And
make
we
a
do
difference.
have
I like that actually.
The colour changing as well, so it gives us different moods and
I
different
can't see, I'm
themes.
surprised. Is that, I'm guessing,
If you zoom in on there you'll see with different,
yeah.
so different colours, but we've also got white as well. So
Yeah, and then you've got, what's that?
that is our speaker controls for outside.
Speaker. Water heater,
Hot water.
boiler?
No, that's your gas control here,
Right.
and this is your water levels.
Ah,
yeah.
right, yeah.
Couple, and then this one here's your wastewater.
Right, cool. And then I suppose it's on to the interesting thing, the layout. Why and what's different to, in this case, than what's normally the standard layout, which is either a fixed bed or a U-shape seating area.
So this bit here is a rock and roll bed.
Is that the same as what you find like T6?
So it's a T5, T6. It's a Rusty Lee's. It's one of the top of the range certified beds.
Yeah.
We'll have got the two seat belts on it, and this folds. When it folds down, it's near enough 6 foot by 6 foot.
Yeah.
Which is
so that folds down, and then this is then essentially
full size bed.
So the whole back of the
whole
van.
back of the van.
That's a big bed. That's
So
probably a
two of you in it.
width.
You normally have to shout to each other at the other side.
Which is ideal.
And you've got the 3 dogs. 2 of them will sleep up beside us.
Yeah.
One lies on the floor.
The bathroom I've already showed, or will show the clip of that by now. A bathroom, again, it's kind of a bathroom really. There's nothing special going on in there.
No.
It's just a standard chemical toilet.
chemical toilet, shower.
There is a change that we've got. The one thing in the Grand California that I've got that Mark hasn't, which is just 2 plug holes.
Yeah.
One on each side, because we had to make sure he was on a certain angle last night, because otherwise the water would have just filled his shower cubicle thing up. But I'm surprised.
It's not an issue.
No, well, it would have been. Whereas the Grand
I had a shower
California-
last night, it
The
was
Grand
fine.
California is obviously already. I don't have to worry about anything.
Oh,
I have to worry about everything else, just not that one thing.
Full size popped up. We've got a 6 foot bed up there.
Because
We
that's
also
normally
have-
where you sleep. In the summer at the shows, that's where he sleeps. So this still looks pristine every day, and he
Yeah.
just keeps his mess up there.
Yeah, we keep all the stuff up there. But it's
Yeah.
got the scenic canvas on it, so we can get that opened up and it allows the air
Yeah.
in. And we've
Yeah.
also got a TV up there as well.
The worst possible thing that everyone has nightmares and worries about who has a van. That happened to you when you were in Spain.
Yeah, so I've always had you always look at forums when you're going, you're looking at different places and stuff like that, and you always see the big people getting broken into, but you never ever think it's going to happen to you or happen as close. So we had probably one of the best days at the beaches when we were away, and for me anyway, because we were in the water with the dog and things like that, and to come back and find your van broken into was just devastating.
They took everything as well, didn't they?
Yeah, we lost. So they got in through the side window, and I think I've not calculated it fully, but we're about $7 grand worth of stuff that we lost. Plus obviously the damage to the van getting in.
And that wasn't even at the end of your holiday either, was it?
No, we were only probably 2.5 weeks into the holiday, so we were away for 6 weeks. So we were only 2.5 weeks in, but we weren't even at our main point that we were looking forward to was going to Ibiza. Yeah. And that was, we kind of planned the trip around going there. And
well, you'd said from the start, from the first time I met you, I remember you saying then you were planning a big trip to Ibiza for your birthday. Everything was upside down.
We've only one cupboard I don't think that we're in. Which we were lucky because it was our electrical cupboard and it had my GoPro and my Insta360 sitting in it.
And that's the only two things, other than that they took everything?
They took everything else.
I'm guessing you didn't really get any joy, they've not found anyone, police reports. What about your insurance? Were there of any help at all?
No help at all. Still never even had a phone call back for them. We were obviously in a different area, we didn't know anything, we had a language barrier and nobody could help us. We didn't know what to do. We had a hole in the window. Insurance asked us, are you safe? I was like, well, we're safe, but our van, we can't leave it because the windows are smashed.
How did you get around that then? What did you end up doing?
So I had to actually go, we went to a glazier hoping they could maybe help, but he put us onto just it was a DIY shop.
Yeah.
So we went and I had to buy a grinder and some tools and I had to buy perspex, so I actually cut my own one, made it up and painted it so it looked like glass and siliconed it in.
There'll be people watching this who's maybe been brought into a home or anything. Like, I can't imagine what that, because you just wouldn't feel safe anymore. Like, it's something that it's your house.
I was ready to sell the van and that was it. I had enough. Just having somebody come into my van that I hadn't allowed in. Like, I'll go to a show, I don't matter, anybody can come in my van.
If you see Mark, or you've ever seen Mark at a show, you'll know what he's like. It's like a sort of open house. You can just come in, have a little walk around, see everything, and you get, obviously the van gets a lot of attention, but that's a different thing. To come back and see that, I bet your heart's sunk. Did they climb through that little window as well?
So they've climbed through the little window. I just had the sliding windows, so they've actually climbed in, and then obviously once they're in, they've been able to open the door. Plus I had my mesh screen up, so they've had to unzip that to get in as well.
Well, so they didn't even cut through that?
They've unzipped it.
They took the time to unzip it?
Yeah, so they've unzipped it, it wasn't damaged.
It wasn't overnight or anything, it was during the day?
Probably about lunchtime. In it was a housing estate. We actually parked, it was a park for night parking, and it was a paid street. There was loads of folk about going to beaches, there was families, there was another camper in front of us, and they reckoned, when we spoke to them to see if they were okay, and they think there was only like a 10-minute window where they went to get a shower that they could have got in and got away. In terms of, to anyone watching that is worried about sort of the van being broken into, I know there's, again, ultimately if someone wants to be in, someone's going to be in, regardless whether you've got cameras or not. Is there anything you would maybe recommend, or anything that you would maybe do differently now in hindsight? I don't think I could have done
anything. It's just
anything.
a look at the drawing sometimes.
Yeah,
like if they find your van, it could have been anyone else on that day.
I don't think I could have done anything different. Yeah. I suppose I could have probably not cared more about my van and bought just a cheaper van.
Yeah, just made it not look...
Obviously it stands out.
It does draw a lot of attention.
It draws attention everywhere.
Yeah. No, but it is a beautiful van, and I'm sure if you haven't seen it before, like I say, I'll put Mark's Instagram down here and jump on there and follow it. And if you haven't seen previously, we done the Three Laddies Top Gear style road trip challenge video, which I'll also put a link to that up here. But for now, I think we've pretty much covered everything. Thanks for letting us in, as you always do, and we'll be coming in and probably having a drink in here in a minute.